Choosing the right sports betting platform can be tricky, as most mobile sports betting apps come with limited betting options and customization, delayed cash out and withdrawal times, and tedious customer support, and no true loyalty program with continuous rewards even after signing up. All of this leads to a frustrating, one-sided experience. So, how do you find the one which suits you best? Introducing Zensports. It combines the best of both worlds, a traditional sports book and a cutting-edge peer-to-peer marketplace. Zensports allows you to accept bets against the house, or use our peer-to-peer marketplace to create your own one-of-a-kind bet and set your own odds without the need for a bookmaker. At Zensports, you get more betting options and a cashback rewards through our unique welcome bonus, continuous loyalty program every month, and referral rewards delivered directly into your account. So what are you waiting for? Download the Zensports app today at zensports.com.
Welcome to Bluff City Bets, a Bluff City Media podcast. Join Daniel Greer and Chase Bobbitt as they give their plays of the day and strategies for success as a sports bettor. Now, let's get to the show.
What up, and welcome back to another episode here at Bluff City Bets, part of the Bluff City Media Network. If you're not already a subscriber, what are you doing? If you're not in the Discord, you're missing out. We're cashing left and right. But here at Bluff City Bets, I am your host, Daniel Greer, where I try to make you just a teeny tiny bit smarter. But I try to make your cash go a lot farther. Today's show, we have 8 plays for you. I'm not going to beat around the bush. I'm not going to go too far in depth, but I'm going to give you a little bit of the reasons why, because I think it's very, very smart on some of these bets. And you're going to hear a little bit of my reasoning. But before we get there, let me tell you a little bit about our presenting sponsor, and that is Zensports. Zensports is an app that you want to go to. It's a sports book. Download the app. Go ahead and sign up. Use the code BLUFC. When you do that, you'll get up to 5% cash back for the first 15 days for yourself. It's very easy, very simple. It's kind of selfish, but hey, you're getting cash back on your volume. And then after that, up to 3% cash back every month. First of the month, it's our savings plan. It's our Zensports savings plan. You get 3% cash back on whatever you spend. And then if you're a friend, tell a friend. Let them know about Zensports, and then you can get up to 5% cash back for the first 6 months for everything that your friend has in betting volume. So very simple, very easy, but make sure you go ahead and sign up now and use the code BLUFC. I promise you, you're not gonna regret it. So, all right, let's get into our show today. Remember, I said we have 8 plays. We're going to go into the NBA for 5, and then we're going to go to the NFL for Sunday. So I'm going to go ahead and give you my first NBA plays, and then we'll get to a break right before we get to our final NFL plays. But I apologize, we don't have any MLB plays. I'm excited about the series. I'm going to kind of pay attention to it. It's not something I'm going to just watch every pitch, every game, but it will be something I enjoy. I expect the Rangers to win, but the Diamondbacks, man, they're scrappy. I just think the pitching is better for the Rangers, for whatever that matters, and I think the hitting is better. So you're talking about 2 things that I think they have the plus in. And so I'm going to go ahead and ride them. The advantages that they have, I think it's going to be hard to overcome for the Diamondbacks. But let's go ahead and go to the NBA. I'm going to lead off with one of our friends, Xavier Tillman of the Grizzlies. All we need is one 3-pointer to go through, and that's plus 230. I think I got this over at MGM. And I think it's a great play for the simple fact that last time in the last game, he went 0 for 4 and he shot 5. His last one, he actually made. This time, I don't expect him to shoot 5, but I expect him to shoot maybe 3. And so I think he can go 1 for 3. I think it's something that he's trying to prove, especially in the first 5 games without the big men that's behind him. I think that he has the ability to. I think it's something that he's wanting to prove. And if he can do this, he's actually carving out a role for him on this Grizzlies team. It's our hometown team here in the Bluff City, so I'm going to have to lead him off first. But I think this is a big one. Plus 230, all we need is 1. X going to give it to us. All right, let's go ahead and go to our next one. And this is going to be a Clippers play. And this is Zubac over 10.5 points, minus 105. And the reason I like this, if you look back at the last 4 games where he went against the Utah Jazz, he's 4-4. He's always played well against them. 11 points. I don't think that's hard to come by. The reason is I think that he plays well against them is you have another big, very similar to who he is in Walker Kessler. I just think that he has to be on the court whenever Walker Kessler's on the court. I know they have Mason Plumlee, but I just think that Zubac is the guy. Personally, I have him for over 8.5 rebounds. And I even have a little bit of a sprinkle on his double-double. I think Zubac is going to have another good game. He always plays well against the Jazz. Like I said, it's because of Walker Kessler. Walker Kessler is going to play 25, maybe 30 minutes max tonight. Zubac is right in that 22 to 28 minute range where he likes to be. So they're going to kind of mirror each other, I'd imagine. But I'm going to go ahead and ride with Zubac here for over 10.5 points. But go ahead and don't be afraid to take that double-double. All right, let's go ahead to our next game. We have actually 3 plays in this game. I know that's probably not what you want to do. And I'm just going to tell you off the bat. They're all rebounding plays. Unfortunately, I apologize. I just think that both of these teams can't shoot. And I think both of these teams give up a lot of rebounds. But I also think both of these teams can rebound decent. And I think they have 2 guys that rebound really well and 1 guy who is brand new, rookie. I'm going to go ahead and hit him. First guy, Mark Williams, over 9.5 rebounds at minus 125. Mark is going to just feast, I think, against a big lineup. I think you have to go ahead and go with the guy who's going to be the sole center for the Hornets. I just think that he's going to rack up a lot of these. I'm going to look at his stats real quick. I believe he got up to 12 or 15 rebounds in the last game. Mark Williams, he got 15 rebounds in the last game. The 3 games prior to that, when he ended the season, games of 12, 13, 10, and then this last game of 15. And then like 7 games ago, he had a game of 16 rebounds. Mark Williams can rebound the ball really well, especially against a team that has a lot of bigs. You have to go with a guy like Mark Williams. And so I think there's going to be a lot of misses. I think Mark Williams is going to go ahead and grab us 10 rebounds. If you want to look at and see what his double-double looks like, anytime you see a rebound line that you like that's around the 10 line, go ahead and look and see what that double-double is. If it's plus 200, I'd say I'd take a chance. Worth a sprinkle at least, quarter unit, half unit, whatever you feel comfortable. At least making sure that if you still hit the rebounds, you don't want to lose too much. You don't want to lose more than 1.5 units, in my opinion. But I do like this play a lot. All right, let's go to the other side of the ball, and it's going to be a plus money. Jalen Duren here from Memphis with the Memphis Tigers. Jalen has played very well. He is now the sole starter there in Detroit. He is their big guy. He plays very well. I expect him to go ahead and grab 11 plus rebounds. Jalen Duren in this first game, he had 14. So you're talking about 2 guys that are grabbing a lot of rebounds. It's not what he does on a consistent basis, but Charlotte has shown up in the past. If you follow them at all, I have picked on them numerous times of being a team that gives up a lot of rebounds. And so I'm going to go ahead and pick on the Charlotte Hornets once again, because I've been kind of circling this game and circling the Hornets because they're going to give up a lot of rebounds, and they had a 10-plus rebounder in the last game. Whoever they played, I cannot remember. Atlanta Hawks, Clint Capella feasted. So I'm expecting Jalen Duren to do the same thing. All right, on the same team, Asar Thompson. Thompson over 5.5 rebounds at minus 120. I like this line. There's other lines that you can take. The reason is because once he had 7. Like right out of the game, I think he put up 4 in the first quarter. Like he wants to establish himself, especially with some of the injuries that Detroit has. I expect him to be somebody who's going to be around the ball. He does a little bit of everything. He's not a great scorer, but I do think he's a little bit of a Mr. Do Everything. I still think he can get a couple assists. And because of that, I think that he has to really worry and I guess focus on his rebounds to cover any of the lines. So points, I think it's up in the air. I think he'll hit them at times. I think he'll be very streaky. And I also think assists can come and go. They're not a great shooting team, so I think that hurts him in the assist area. But then also I think the rebounding is solely focused on him. If he has the energy and the effort, I think he's going to have 6+ rebounds. Like I said, 7 last game against a team in the Hornets. I think he can get easily 7, 8. So if you like other lines, if you think his assist line is there, I think the number is 7.5 or 8.5 on his rebounds plus assists. If you want to take just his assists, I think it's over 2.5 at plus money. But I like this line over 5.5 rebounds. Again, I'm going to go with Azar Thompson. And honestly, if you have just hung out with us in the Discord, you have seen that we picked on him, or we chose him last game, and he cashed for us then too, along with some of these other guys. So make sure you pay attention. One thing I will say about the Grizzlies game that a lot of people might be asking and worried about, I'm nervous about some of the lines. We have some plays in there. I picked them up at -3.5 when I first saw it come out. It moved from -2.5 to -3.5 pretty quickly. Ryan over there in our Discord gave out the Nuggets -2.5. I even have a play on them that I sprinkled a little bit of the Nuggets a 10+ win. I just think that they can easily run out from the Grizzlies. But let me tell you how I think the game will go. And I think it's going to be very simple. You're going to have a Grizzlies team that wants to make sure they come out from the start. They're playing at home. They're going to be playing very well. I think the first quarter is going to be pretty close. The second quarter of the last game, I think that the Grizzlies really got hurt because they had weird lineups. They just weren't used to playing with maybe some of the lineups that they've had. Well, as you get into that second unit again, I think that the Denver Nuggets are going to establish themselves, a 3 or 4 point lead. And then I think you're going to see in that third quarter, they're going to make sure they come out ready, because if they can go ahead and kind of stymie a little bit what the Grizzlies do in that third quarter, the game is done. The game is over. And so I expect that this third quarter to be really important for this game. And I think if Denver shows up like I expect them to show up, I think you're going to see a team kind of run out from them. And I think you're going to go up by 15 leading into the fourth quarter. And at that point, it's going to be hit or miss. I still think you're going to see Murray and Jokic and all of them have to play in the fourth quarter. I don't think it's going to get that far out, but I expect them to win by at least 4 points, if not 10+. I expect a 10+ win out of the Denver Nuggets. So we'll see, but I'm not thrilled about this game, but make sure you tune in. We're still cashing. Ryan has the over in this game. He just thinks, looking at a lot of the, the metrics around the referees, everything leans to the over. And so looking at that, you have to kind of buy into that. But looking at these other lines that we have, what scares me is Desmond Bane. Desmond Bane has never played well against Denver for whatever reason. They have focused on him. They made him kind of run off of the 3-point line, which he's shown that he can now get to the paint, but also, get to that, short jumper. It makes me nervous because the stats say that he's not going to go over, he's not going to have 25+ points. But I just believe in him the way he looks this year already, putting up a game of 31. And the other thing I'm looking at is how Jaren responds. And you can look at, pretty much, peel back a little bit and open the book a little bit about what this game looks like. Jaren has to get established early. And so I expect them to get in rhythm. And so this will be my bonus play. And it'll be the first basket of the game. I got this. It's not the first field goal, first points, we'll say. I got this over on FanDuel because I think that, one, it had the best odds. 2, it allows for free throws. So if you don't like that, you want to make sure you have the shot, then go ahead. But I think that even if there is a shooting foul, I want to be able to cash on the first one. But I expect the ball to be won by the Grizzlies and Jaren over Jokic. But then I also expect Jaren to have a play ran for him. And this line is at plus 700. And so if I could bet whatever I could on Jaren to be the guy who takes the first Grizzlies shot, I would, whether it goes in or not. I would bet on that. Jaren is going to get the ball first. In my opinion, I don't see how there's a world out there that Jaren doesn't have the ball first. And so I expected him to try to back down, try to give some kind of a shot. And whether he gets fouled or actually makes the shot, plus 700, I'm willing to play the game. So let's go ahead and get into our NFL plays. But before we get there, a little bit about Bluff City Media. Enjoy this commercial.
I am highly upset, man.
Oh, man.
ESPN, you dastardly dogs you. Last week had us feeling good. They picked the Grizzlies to be first in the West with about 48.5 wins. And what a difference a few days makes.
What a difference.
You put out your list of the top 100 players in the NBA. Desmond Bain jumps in at 61. Jaren Jackson Jr. comes in at number 31. Jaren's top 25 to me, but if you, all right, whatever. I think that's a little slight to Jaren. Desmond Bain is disgusting, in my opinion. Then we get Ja Morant, All-NBA player, 2-time All-Star, one of the most dynamic offensively players in the NBA, Ja Morant. That guy was number 35 on their list, Kenny Stubblefield. The same people that said the Grizzlies will be the first team in the West, they're going to get that done with just some regular dudes.
Tune in to The Anthony Sane Show, Wednesdays and Fridays at 12 p.m. weekly on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Just curious, you kind of talked about the transfers and things like that. How has that changed your mindset from a roster management standpoint? Like, incredible recruiter. All the classes, I think we had 2 back-to-back and 21 and 22 top classes. How does that change with the transfer portal? Do you start focusing more on upperclassmen? Do you kind of get away from the younger freshmen? How does that work?
Yeah, so I still believe in our coaching staff and the way we do things and developing guys. And that I will never get away from that philosophy. We're still going to recruit a high school class. Now, there's a lot of colleges out there that say, screw this. We're pushing all the chips in on this roster, win right now, and we'll figure it out. Sure. And if it doesn't, right, it implodes and bad things happen. But I think you still have to bring in true freshmen and develop them and see what they can become. And that I'll never waver from that. But the portal certainly changed things.
Tune in to Tigers Untapped with TJ Willis and Trey Lasley every Wednesday at 3 p.m. on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
All right, welcome back. Welcome back. We are here. We're trying to give you a little bit more plays, trying to make you some more money. And so I had to tell you a little bit about that Grizzlies game because now basketball is back. We're excited. But also, wherever you're going to bet, make sure you go ahead and give Zensports a chance. Go ahead and download the app and use the code BLUFC. You can go and look for all the lines that you're looking at every other book. You can also find them at Zensports, where you get 5% cash back for the first 15 days once you sign up. And then you can get up 3% cash back just for having your money with them and not withdrawing and kind of keeping it there and playing in that one book. But then after that, you can get up to 5% cash back for the first 6 months just by telling a friend. So go ahead and sign up for Zensports now and use the code BLUFC and just look at their lines. Give them a chance. That's all we're asking. Give them a chance. New book. They're exclusive here in the Tennessee market. And so here in Memphis and the surrounding areas, make sure you look at Zensports if you're looking for a sports book of choice. So that's it. Let's go ahead and get to the NFL. These are my 3 favorite plays in the NFL. You know, we're doing 2 kickers, and then we have a tackles. Okay, very simple. Markets that aren't tapped in as much. We're talking about going into, week 7, I believe. Man, like at this point, everything with the books, it starts to get a little crunched down, and these lines get a little tougher. We have more, stats to back up a lot of this stuff. And so the lines are spot on. And so the first 4 to 5 weeks, I would say NFL is doable. It's very good. Just like the NBA and even some baseball. Baseball is kind of, it's a different sport. But just like the NBA, those lines, they kind of get to where they're settled in, and then they juice them, and it's hard to play them. So that's why we're kind of feasting a little bit as much as we can on the NBA. But here in the NFL, I think you can still look at some markets, and I think you can look at the field goal market. It doesn't, get manipulated too much. And the tackles market, tackles and assists, whatever you're looking for, I think can be very, very playable. But these are my 3 favorite plays of the entire weekend. And I have my stats, and I have everything to back it up. And as you know, that I am a guy who likes the kicker. I like tackles and assists, and I have my own model for it. And it pretty much gives me my information, and then I do even more research on top of that to kind of dig in a little bit more and make sure that some of the stats that I'm getting isn't throwing me off, such as I liked Jake Elliott. The numbers all say that Jake Elliott's going to have 2+ field goals this week. Looking at the last 2 weeks, he's kicked, I think, 1 or 2 field goals in the past 2 games. And then if you look at who they're going against, the Commanders, they've only had 1 or 2 field goal attempts in the last 2 games. And so before then, everything was great. They played, I think, 3 or 4 weeks ago, and Jake Elliott had 4 attempts, and he had 4 makes. That's obviously first thing I saw when I'm looking at, the competition, the opponent. And so I saw that and I was like, all right, I'm drawn in. And then the more I looked in depth of it, I just didn't like it. It's a play that I think I'd be willing to play, but I have to look at the weather because it is outdoors. But also I want to make sure that, what is the recency bias? Like, why are those last 2 games for both teams a little bit of the outliers? And so I want to make sure I dig in more. But these 2 are both in domes. And these 2 are both guys that I trust, and they continuously cash. And the other team, their opponent, allows them to cash. So let's go to the first one of Brandon Aubrey for the Dallas Cowboys, over 1.5 field goals at -115. Look at the numbers here. He's hit in 5 of 6 games this season. His only miss was the San Francisco debacle. That whole entire game was debacle. They were just killed from the very beginning. Zero chance that they can get back into that game. And because of that, I expect them to not go down that route. And so I'm looking at them to play very well. They're at home. As you know, it is a dome. They're playing against the Rams, who do give up a lot. The Rams actually have allowed the team they've gone against 5 of 7 times, not just attempts, but actually cashed this 5 of 7 times, 5 of 7 games. And then Dallas, Aubrey has cashed in 5 of 6, the only miss being San Francisco. I love this. I think that they're going to be able to get in the red zone and then go ahead. And sometimes they haven't been a great red zone team this year. And because of that, I still think they have to kick field goals, but I don't think the Rams get too far out where they're not allowing themselves to take the points. The other game, Blake Groupie. Listen, I didn't know that was his actual name, but the last name, I thought it was like Group. There's no way it was Groupie. No, it's Groupie. So Blake Groupie for the Saints, over 1.5 field goals at plus money, plus 105. His numbers on this as well. He is 6 of 7 on the season of hitting 2+ field goals. And the only time he missed it was against Green Bay, and he actually had 2 attempts. He went 1 of 2 in that game. So realistically, he's had 2 or more attempts in every game, and he's a very good kicker. And I expect him to continuously be a very good kicker, and I think he'll go ahead and keep cashing. But the last 4 games, he's 10 of 13. 10 of 13 just in the last 4 games. So do that with you will. And then they're playing Indianapolis, and so Indianapolis has allowed teams to cash this in 5 of 7 games this year. Very easy, but also looking at these numbers, the last 4 games, they've allowed 15 field goals and 13 makes. And so 13 of 15. The last 4 games have looked great for these. Recency bias, I'm looking at this. I think these are both great plays for me. 2 of my 3 favorite plays. Let's go ahead and get to the last one, and that is Zaire Franklin, over 5.5 tackles. No tackles and assists, just tackles. And the reason is, if you look at this number, it's juiced. The tackles and assists is over 9.5, right, at -140. Okay, so you're looking at him having to need 4 assists. So if he does get this, he needs 4 assists or more, right, to get over that number. And they expect him to get over that number at -140, right? So you think he's going to have 10 against a New Orleans team that likes to throw the ball in the backfield. They also like to run. And so I expect the linebackers to feast. But on this line, every single game this year, he's actually cashed. In every single game, he's had 6 or more solo tackles, and I expect him to do it again. And let me give you just a little bit more, All right, I'm going to bring up my notebook. Looking at these numbers, do you know who plays for the Saints now? Before the Saints, they were okay. They weren't moving the ball. Time of possession was a little lacking. Last 4 weeks, not lacking. Alvin Kamara, in the last game, 17 carries, 12 receptions. The game before that, 19 carries, 7 receptions. The game before that, 22 carries, 3 receptions. And in his first game, I believe he has had 11 carries and 13 receptions. Those numbers are incredible. And guess who gets funneled to the linebacker? And the linebackers have had 10 or more tackles and assists in pretty much every game that they played against the Saints, the last 4 since Kamara's been there. But there's been multiple linebackers that had 6 or more tackles in these games. Zaire Franklin is one of the best in this game besides Foye Aluakon. That's who played him last week. Go watch tape on that. Everything gets funneled. And when he gets out, the middle linebacker is the guy, and that's Zaire Franklin, who's going to be on him out in space. Go ahead and take him. So if you're looking for two different plays, you can look for Alvin Kamara over his receptions. Obviously, if you play like over 4.5, he's probably cashed on that. But I think Zaire Franklin is going to be that guy who gets a lot of tackles. And so that's one of my 3 favorite plays. And so I hope we keep cashing. The NFL has been tough, but I don't expect it to keep being as tough in some areas. It's going to peak. So just be careful. 7 to 10, 7 to 12 it peaks. And then it starts to fall again because people do get hurt, but also out of the bye weeks, and you start having that push for the playoffs. And so people might ramp up a little bit more. So get ready. You can take a little bit of break if you want, but we'll be coming back hard and heavy for sure, the NFL. But we're going to kind of focus more on the NBA at the moment. But that's all we have. Make sure you join us over in Discord. If you're a Grizzlies fan, make sure you join the Grizzlies post-game show that we have here on the Bluff City Media Network. It's Grizz 901. It's hosted by myself, but also with my co-host, Nathan. We're on there each and every game. As soon as the game ends, we push the live button, and we go live wherever you are hearing us. We can see your comments. Just make sure you're on YouTube, and we'll put you up on the screen and kind of just share what your comment is and kind of talk through it as we go. So it's a show for the people, but also we try to teach you a little bit, have different guests on. We have a giveaway right now, so make sure you go tune into that. But that's all we have. Let's have an incredible weekend, and let's cash the weekend.
Thank you for listening to Bluff City Bets. If you enjoyed this episode, leave a rating and a review wherever you download your podcasts. Also, like and subscribe to Bluff City Media's YouTube page. For comprehensive coverage of all things Memphis sports, head over to www.bluffcitymedia.co and find out how you can become an insider. We will see you back here next week.
It's hard to poke a hole in this roster. I mean, it's weird saying that in August, but just looking at the spread of it, the way it's worked out and come together, and what the staff has done, once again, flowers are deserved.
Isn't it like if you're poking a hole, it's all kind of more abstract thoughts.
Absolutely.
Like how are they going to gel? If you're just talking roles, they have every role filled.
Yep, we won't know that for months.
Yeah.
So instead of harping on that, like some people are going to get fired up about that now. Like just looking at what's built and where this could potentially go is pretty cool.
Tune in to On the Bluff with Christian Fowler and Gabe Kuhn every Tuesday at 12 p.m. on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.